good morning and welcome to the last day of Namaste 2020, a global Utsava of Indian soft power. The Center for Soft Power, a national think tank, has been conducting this wonderful conference. And we've had a terrific ride, and I hope all of you joining us have enjoyed it as much as we have in looking at the various elements of Indian soft power. We must admit it feels like we've just scratched the surface, and we have a lot more to explore and offer to you. And one of the things that the Good Country Ratings, which looks at soft power, has told us about Indian soft power is that the two elements where India ranks very high is Ayurveda and spiritual well-being. So this ties in with today morning's session where we look at meditation and how India has shaped this unique offering. From earliest times, India has held out the twin goals of material well-being and the highest spiritual good of all. That is, community, earthly life should uphold and support the highest spiritual good, Atma Jnanam, as well as direct one to it. It was Swami Vivekananda who enshrined this noble ideal in the motto of the Ramakrishna order for the realization of the self and the good of the world. This has been something that India has always followed. Swami Vivekananda emphasized integrating all the four primary yogas: selfless action, devotion, knowledge, and meditation. India's philosophical systems such as Sankhya, Yoga, Vedanta, and others have the ability to give us suitable answers to all the questions in relativity and beyond. These three also leave room for science, which we saw in some of our sessions, while going far beyond science. One of the paths that India offers to this realization is music. And so we have today morning young Vinay Sherva, a Carnatic classic vocalist from Bangalore in India. He is one of the rising stars and has already arrived in the scene, if we have to say that. And he's known for his sonorous voice, and his carries the teachings of his gurus, both in his content as well as in the context of his music. Today, he will be introducing us to the path of devotion through music. Over to you, Vinay.
Thank you. Thank you, Aparna. So, a very good morning to one and all. I'm Vinay Sharma, Carnatic classical vocalist, and I've been practicing this great art form for over 2 decades now. At the outset, I would like to thank the members of Center for Soft Power, especially Srimati Vijayalakshmi Vijaykumar Madam, for having made me a panelist for Namaste 2020 and having given me an opportunity to speak about this topic. So, delving straight to the topic, I'm here to talk about Cit Sadhna through music. While this is such a vast topic and something that is experiential, having to speak about it, and that too from someone who's more natural and accustomed to singing than speaking, it definitely is a challenge on multiple fronts, but I would, however, endeavor to do the best. Before we go to Cit Sadhana, we need to look at the word Chit and the context in which it is used. Chit figures in the famous phrase Satchit Ananda, also called as Amshatrayam. We also hear the word Chit in the four dimensions of mind: Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, and Chitta. Buddhi is the intellect, the logical dimension of thought. It cannot function without a certain bank of memory or data. Depending on the data you have, the intellect plays around. If you can think a little better than someone else, it is considered as intelligence today. If someone says one thing and another person says 10 things to that, you may be socially smart, but you're not anymore intelligent. The next dimension is Manas. Manas has many layers to it, but Manas is not just the brain, it is right across the body. Every cell in the body has phenomenal memory, not just of this life, but of millions of years. Top to bottom, there is Manas, This is called Manomaya Kosha. In every cell in the body, there is memory, intelligence, but no intellect. Intellect is only in the brain. The intellect directly connects with the third dimension of our mind called Ahankara. Ahankara is sometimes loosely translated as ego, but Ahankara is much more than that, and it is not to be seen in the negative sense. Ahankara gives one a sense of identity, and once the Ahankara takes on a sense of identity, like this is me, this is my state, this is my music, this is my nation, this sense of identity, the intellect starts functioning only in that context. So only along the axis of Ahankara, the intellect can function. The intellect cannot transcend beyond this because it is the nature of the intellect. The fourth dimension of the mind is called Chitta. Chitta is mind without memory, pure intelligence. This intelligence is like cosmic intelligence. It is simply there. Everything happens because of that. It does not function out of memory. It simply keeps functioning. In a way, what you call cosmos is a living mind, but not in the sense of intellect, but in the sense of chitta. Chitta is the last point of the mind. It connects the basis of creation within you. It connects you with your consciousness. So now, if we need to get an understanding of this chit, we need to know about the 3 S. That is Satvikatvam, Satyam, and Sadhana. The lifestyle must be a Satvik life. And we must always utter and mean the truth, Satya, and perform what is preached. When this is achieved, when this is truly achieved, what happens is, as they say, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodakaha. Here, Chit means Manasu. When the veil or illusion of the Manasu is removed, then the Buddhi gets activated. And now Chit becomes Buddhi. When the Buddhi also gets purified, Atma is left and Chitta becomes one with Atma. So this is just how water from an ocean gets evaporated, then comes back as rain and rejoins the ocean. This experience is what is called as Chidanandam, which is also called Akhandaika Rasanandam, which means it is something that is beyond definition, beyond description. And if we are able to describe it, then it means that there's still some amount of illusion or Maya that is still attached, and we are not completely pure. Adi Shankara in his Nirvana Shatkam, the beautiful Nirvana Shatkam, he says, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, which means you get an experience that you are one with Shiva, the Supreme Soul. And when would that be possible? One needs to apply this Chit on the Manasu, the Chitta on the Buddhi, on sense organs, removing the layers of illusion and finally becoming truly purified. Therefore, this Cit Sadhana means development. Cit Sadhana means evolution. Cit Sadhana means Vikasana, as they call it. Now, what happens when we touch this dimension of Chit? So, what is the result of us exploring this dimension of Chitta? Once when we start consciously gaining access to this dimension, things start happening in a way which is just best for you. It is not that we need to think of something and we need to do certain things in a certain way using our intellect. The things start happening in a certain way which is just the best for us. So things that we cannot even imagine is what the illuminated masters say. Now coming to Cit Sadhana through music. This is the main topic. First of all, what is the purpose of any spiritual sadhana? It is to elevate the level of consciousness in a man to a higher state and enable the light of perpetual knowledge to shine upon him, making him attain ultimate realization. So this, any master and every master in the spiritual sadhana has always spoken about this. So it is to elevate the level of consciousness to ultimately gain the final realization. And there are many different ways to attain this. In this way, Sangeeta Upasana or Nadopasana is also one among the many paths. The great musical saint Sadguru Tyagaraja says, Nadopasana che Shankara Narayana Vidhulu Velasiri O Manasa. O my mind, the Trinity Lords Shankara, Narayana, and Vidhi. Vidhi means Brahma. They are radiant, they are effulgent than other gods because of worship or upasana of Nada, because they have done Nada upasana. So they are more radiant than the other gods, they are more radiant than the other Veda Purushas. That is what they say. That is what Tyagaraja goes on to say, the greatness of Nada upasana. Cit Sadhana is Nirantara Sadhana. So is Sangeeta Sadhana. So it is, hopefully one lifetime process to ultimately reach its objective, but we just doesn't know. We just don't know. So let us just have a look on what are the stages of evolution of a Sangeeta Sadhaka, especially, I come from a Carnatic music scenario. So let me just in brief points talk about the stages of evolution, because previously I mentioned that Cit Sadhana means continuous evolution, continuous development. So what are the stages of this evolution through the musical process that a Sangeeta Sadhaka, an aspirant of musical realization, has to undergo? First, the basic levels. It is the introduction of Saptaswaras, the basic notes, some exercises in them to get familiarity, as well as making the instrument or the voice to be able to respond to the to produce the desired frequencies. Next is simple compositions to get a feel of singing a song. We call this, we have Geetes, we have um, Jatiswaras, we have Swarjatis. So these are very simple compositions to get the feel of a song. Then the development increases in complexity of ragas, talas, gamakas. So what are these gamakas? These are mainly musical embellishment structures. So we use these gamakas to highlight the emotional, the musical content. So we have structures or compositions called as varnas for this. Then we move on to kritis or kirtanas, the songs, the more complicated songs of various composers, different facets of each raga, different sanktis of each raga, the structures, the limitations, etc. Then comes mathematical complexity, the rhythmic intensity, the aspects of laya, multiple forms of composition. We have kritis, kirtanas, then we have padams, javalis, tillanas, and many forms of compositions, their grammar, their boundaries. Then we move on to exposition of a raga as an alapna, alap as they say in Hindustani music, and creative elements, that is manodharma as we call it. So like nerval. So what is nerval? Nerval is beautification of a line of sahitya in a song, bounded by the structure of the raga and also the limitation of the tala. So this is nerval, and swaraprasthara is further beautification through singing of the swarams of that raga, tanas, jatis, etc., and many more. So till now, things are generally technical in nature. By now, we are able to handle multiple ragas. We know their structure. We are able to create impromptu, beautiful musical, creative structures with depending on the artist's individual ability. It can just blow the minds of people by sheer technical virtuosity. But what has truly happened till now, to be very frank, is a function of memory, arrangement of musical structures, instrument or voice control or capacity, and the ability and the intelligence to package it in an attractive way. So this is generally what we see in concerts also. But is this the be all and end all of Sangeeta Sadhana, of Nadopasana, of Sangeeta Upasana? Is this it? By making sure we earn the applause of the audience, by making them probably get disillusioned by technical virtuosity or supreme capabilities, is that all there is to Nadopasana? My personal opinion, and those of many masters who have done the true sadhana of Nadopasana, is that true sadhana actually starts from this point. Please note that all the previous steps that I mentioned, they are also very important. But all of that is preparation for the real sadhana, for the real challenge that next needs to be taken up once the sadhaka is technically, physically, and mentally ready. So why do I say this? Now, I was going through Google, and I just sometime back found a quote from Sadhguru Sri Jaggi Vasudevji, where he says about Chit Shakti and Chit Sadhana. He says, once your thought, emotion, and energies are organized, your very body will also get organized. And once all these four are organized in one direction, your ability to create and manifest what you want is phenomenal. Now, to achieve this, how can music or Sangeeta Sadhana be a means? Let us try to break it down. First, let us consider the energy part of it. We have generally heard of the energy centers in our body called as the chakras. If music has an effect on these chakras, then there is an effect on the energies of the body, because chakras are concentration points of the energy, and across the spine there are 6 chakras in the body and 1 chakra out of the body, the Sahasrara chakra. So from the Mooladhara to Sahasrara, these are the energy centers. So I will not delve deep into this, but in musical treatise by say people like Bharata or Sharangadeva and others, they have clearly mentioned that there definitely is a direct relation between swaras and the chakras. After all, both are energy. Looking at it in scientific terms, energy, what does energy mean? Energy means vibration at certain frequencies. So if I am able to hit that frequency, then there will be the concept of resonance which comes into play, which increases the amplitude of the frequency. Doesn't this, in very simple terms, in very, very basic and simple terms, say that through music, I can actually interact and impact the energy centers of the body? The text, in fact, no, many texts, in fact, give which swara corresponds to which chakra, and people also draw parallels between sapta swaras, sapta chakras, etc. So, I cannot just take the face value of it, but the logic behind is pretty scientific. Next comes the emotional aspect. This was the energy aspect. Next comes the emotional aspect. So what is this emotional aspect which we call as bhakti, and why is it so important? What is this science of emotional culture, and how is music a great tool to culture the emotions? This is called as rasa sadhana. Rasa means, in very basic terms, it means emotions. The different flavors, the different colors of emotions have been kind of indexed and have been categorized into 9 rasas, Navarasa as we call it. So I believe that there was already a session on rasas and ragas by eminent artists. So I will not delve deep into the rasa sadhana part of it. But just to tell briefly, we should know that in India and in our philosophy, we consider body and mind as one and not separate entities. So what affects one has an effect on the other. Emotions have an effect on the body, and the bodily manifestation of this effect is something that is now undeniable and well documented. So suppose, say, somebody is feeling extremely depressed, probably their appetite goes down, the sleep increases. So these are some of the bodily manifestation, and probably a lot more they say the charm in the eyes, the spark in the eyes has gone off. So all of these are bodily manifestations of something which is of an emotional play, that is something affecting the mind. So music is a tool that plays around with the rasas. So it is not just music, any performing arts, even dance, there is visual beautification and expression of the rasas. Even food can be another way to experience emotions. There are many, many ways. But music or our performing arts, why are they so great? So through performing arts, you don't just limit this experience to your own self, but it percolates to the audience as well. So there is a beautiful quote by the great Ananda Kumaraswamy in his book on Indian arts. So he says, what is the objective in Indian art? The central objective of classical Indian arts is to create rasas in the spectators in order to communicate or suggest a kind of knowledge that cannot be clearly expressed in words. The knowledge of rasas is not revealed or explained as it is in the book, but manifested inside the spectator, which makes it very powerful, leading to real knowledge of truth through intuitive understanding. Therefore, art becomes a means for educating and healing people emotionally. So he says, art is a very precise expression of philosophy, and in India, philosophy has been expressed in a very artistic way. It is such a beautiful expression. Now, coming back to the next step of a Sangeeta Sadhaka after having acquired the technical capabilities. He must now undergo emotional culture or rasa sadhana. It is now to bring out the rasas in the music and experience the rasa in its various shades. How can this be done? This is where our Indian music gifts us with the lyrical content. For starters, we can read and understand the lyrical content, its context, interpret in a way so as to see what one can think must have been the emotional state of the composer. Actually become an imposter by becoming the composer yourself and try to sing that composition as if it was coming out of you. So this is devotion. This is the Bhakti Marga. This is one of the ways of advancing in the Bhakti Marga. This impersonation is actually what helped the great saint of India, one of the greatest saints, Sri Ramakrishna, progress so quickly and so much in his spiritual path. So when he was more known as Gadadhar and not as Ramakrishna, so he impersonated becoming Anjaneya, becoming Radha, and many other such characters. He became so much one with them that he totally lost his own sense of identity and was totally associated with the identity of those characters. Complete devotion, complete surrendering. So one example that I can give is, how we can understand the lyrical content and also start and also present the music is, there is a very famous kriti of Sadguru Tyagaraja in the raga Abheri, Nagumomu Ganaleni, Na Jali Telisi, Nannu Brovarada Sri Raghuvara. This is a very, very popular song. So it is very widely sung. How do people sing? Generally, how is it sung? It is sung in a very fast and very popularistic way, and it sort of has a rock kind of feel to it nowadays. The way it is presented. But what does the Sahitya say? Ni nagu momu, your smiling face, ganaleni, I couldn't see it. I'm not able to see it. Na jali telisi, having known the trauma, having known my suffering, Nannu Grovarada, Sri Raghuvara, can't you come and rescue me? Can't you come and bless me, O Raghuvara? So, Tyagaraja is literally pleading with Sri Rama to come and bless him, to give him darshanam. So, if we get into the mood of Tyagaraja, if we try to get into the mindset of Tyagaraja, this is of course a relative experience, a subjective experience, but if we try to get into the mood of Tyagaraja, I see him literally crying to Rama and asking him to give him the darshanam. I am not able to see your face. Nagumomu ganaleni na jali telisi nagumomu ganaleni na jali telisi Nanu Shri Raghuvara Ni Nagumo Ganaleni Na Jali Telisi Nanu Brovaga Radha Sri Raghuvara Ni Nagumo Ganaleni Na Jali Telisi. How would we generally hear the song? నగుమోము కనలేని నాజాలి తెలిసి నను బ్రోవగరాదా శ్రీ రఘువరని నగుమోము కనలేని. I personally feel that the musical rasa, the emotion as expressed by the music and the lyric are totally in contrast in the second type of presentation. So the lyric and the music must be in sync with each other. We see this a lot even in dance recitals. The sadhana of this kind with multiple rasas cultures the emotion, and as mentioned earlier, the energy is also organized. This paves way for progressing into subsequent higher states of consciousness. And there comes a point when all the rasas lose their existence and there is only true bliss, which is Brahmananda. All the different rasas are till we operate in the buddhi, manas dimensions of the mind with the aid of the ahankara. Once all of this distills out, all that remains is only the chit, the truly unblemished, non-colored, purest form of consciousness. This state of being is what the learned ones called Sat Chit Ananda. And speaking of Sat Chit Ananda, the Chidananda, the most beautiful expression of Satchidananda comes in Adi Shankaracharya's very famous Nirvana Shatkam, which I'll now sing, and I'll then be ending this talk on Cit Sadhana through music. मनोबुद्ध्यहंकार चित्तानिनाहं मनोबुद्ध्यहंकार चित्तानिनाहं न च श्रोत्र जिह्वा न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योम भूमिर्न तेजो न वायुचिदानंद रूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न च प्राण संज्ञो न वै न च प्राण संज्ञो न वै प्राणवायु न वा सप्तधातु न वा पाक्षकोश न वा पाणिपादौ न चोपस्थवायुश्चिदानंद रूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् न मे द्वेष रागौ न मे लोभ मोहौ मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्य भाव न मे द्वेष रागौ न मे लोभ मोहौ न मे नैव मदो नैव मे नैव मात्सर्य भाव न धर्मो न चार्तो न कामो न मोक्षश्चिदानंद रूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभूत्वान्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभूत्वान्य सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् न चासङ्गतं नैव मुक्तिर्नमेव शिवश्चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं मनोबुद्ध्यहङ्कारचेतानि नाहं न च श्रोत्रजिह्वा न च घ्राणनेत्रे न च व्योमभूमिर्न तेजो न वायोश्चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं May I apologize for the mistakes. I would again like to thank Center for Soft Power for having given me this opportunity to speak about Cit Sadhana through music. And I thank Srimati Vijayalakshmi Madam for having given me this opportunity. Thank you one and all.
Namaskar. Thank you very much, Vinay Sharma. That was a very nice talk that you gave, and I hope this sets you on the path. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar and welcome everybody to this the next session. Swagatam and pranams Parivrajika Swamini Amma. We are sorry for the 2-minute delay, and I will just give a small introduction of Swamini Amma, though I doubt it is necessary at all because her talk will say it all. Swamini Parivrajika Divyananda Prana, monastic member of Sri Sharada Math, is a monastic member none of the Sri Sharada Math Parivrajika Divya Prana. Mataji is a monastic member currently stationed at Ramakrishna Sharada Mission, New Delhi. She is an initiate of revered Swami Ranganathanandaji Maharaj and received sannyasa in 2007. She has been active in the publications of the Math, was headmistress of Delhi Mission School, and is currently editor of Samvit. She gives courses on Yoga Vedanta at IIT Delhi, which are available on their official channel, NRCVEE IIT Delhi. She is a regular speaker at different institutes of national repute like the IITs, IIMs and other universities, as well as many international platforms. Amma, welcome to you, and we look forward to the words and the guided steps to meditation that you will take us on this path. Thank you very much for being with us and accepting so easily and so spontaneously. Thank you, Amma. Welcome. Vinay, can you mute and take your video off, please? Vinay?
I have done it, madam.
Amma, you have to unmute yourself.
Namaste to everyone, and I am very happy to be part of this program organized by Center for Soft Power. Just now we had a very mesmerizing musical rendition, and that really elevated my mood. So now we will have a meditation session, Cit Sadhna. I hope I am audible and clear to everyone.
Yes,
so
Amma.
This Cit Sadhna is a very profound, beautiful word. And I'm so happy that the organizers have chosen this as the main topic, because Chit is a very powerful word in Sanskrit, especially in our scriptural literature. in Vedanta, Chit is the state of pure consciousness, pure being. And the sadhana towards it is Cit Sadhna. How to attain this state? See, at some point in every life, this question pops up. Every human being has a sort of monastic dimension. When he asks this question, what is the real purpose of human life? What am I moving towards? What is the goal of human life? Is there one specific goal, or the little goals which we have, which we are pursuing in this world? Is there an ultimate goal to human life? So that is when things like Cit Sadhana become very important. There is a goal, a common goal for all humanity, which is what distinguishes the human species from the rest of the animal species. That goal is transcendental. That goal is of the nature of God consciousness. That is discovery of this Chit, my own state of real unchanging being. This is Chit. Who am I? It's an answer to this question. What is the unchanging element in me? When the body falls, what remains over? So a discovery and exploration into this is essentially Cit Sadhana. Now we are a people, and this is a land which has invested its greatest minds, and for the longest periods of human history in this research. If you have deeply read the history of India, you will see this is indeed the land of sages, rishis and yogis, and the best minds of this land invested their entire life into this research and discovered certain basic facts about the human mind, about the human personality, which are really flabbergasting, which are stunning. And it is the collection of these realizations that we call the Vedas. And the essence of this Veda is the Upanishad. Usually I focus on the Upanishads and on the Yoga Sutras because these are the twin philosophical texts which will give you a direct insight into your own real nature. Until the question, who am I, becomes important and dominant in our minds, we will not understand the value of this literature. This literature is giving you direct pointers into the state of your true being, which is unchanging, which is the common denominator of all other thought in your mind, which is the common denominator of all your experiences. This is your true being, what is called the Atman or pure Chit. And you being this being your real nature, how can you not ask for it? See, there are 7 billion people on this planet. How does each one refer to himself? As I. Does that mean there are 7 billion eyes? No. The eye is pointing towards the same thing in every human being. Please see this. It is pointing towards consciousness. This is what is being called the Atman in Vedanta. And it is due to this, the presence of this consciousness in us, that the mind becomes conscious, mind gets enlivened as it were. The body becomes conscious, body gets enlivened as it were. And then we tend to identify with this body-mind complex. But the essential heart of the whole thing, the source of your being, is only Chit. It's only pure consciousness. Now, how do we realize this? This is the recurring theme in Yoga and Vedanta. Both these philosophies are giving you methods and means to go towards this knowledge. But how do I realize it in my own life? So this is what we will practice. We will practice a technique today. Shortly, a little after I finish this, I will be giving you a meditation technique. We will go through a short meditation, about a 10-minute meditation, in which you will see that the mind can be cleared completely, and then, well, you have to feel it to know it. It's not about discussion. It is about doing. You have to do it, and then you will know what it is. So we will go into that, but let me just give you a background, the philosophical background to this process. The search for the self has inspired millions of people in the past, including kings, including rulers who have given up everything. You know the famous story of the Buddha. In our own times, men of realization, women of realization have given us insights into this Cit Sadhna. It is a do-it-yourself technique. You can yourself do it. Secondly, it is the common, you can say, question and need of the human species to know more about who I am, to try to discover the deeper dimensions of your own personality, to go beyond thought. This is the great urge which actually makes all people move towards spirituality. This is the basic inquiry. Now, this is a land where methods were discovered in order to fructify, to bring into fruition this inquiry, to make it a realizable fact in our life. And these methods have also been propounded by all the great rishis and yogis who took birth in this land, starting from the Vedas to the recent case of Raman Maharshi. All of them have given us methods and techniques to follow. Anything that appeals to you instantly, anything that is doable for you, that is your path, obviously. And something of that, investing some amount of vital energy into this form of sadhana will bring great fruit, will bring great results in our life. It actually clears your mind and gives you an insight into the goal of human life. It brings deep peace, as you all know, because anybody participating in a conference, in a seminar like this, obviously knows what we are talking about. And it is, for those who practice meditation, it is pretty obvious that it is the sanest state of existence. It is a state where your mind functions at the highest level and you are able to penetrate into the deeper dimensions of your being. It brings peace, it brings bliss, it brings satisfaction. It answers the fundamental existential questions of life. So this is Cit Sadhana. And without this, the mind can function in all sorts of erratic ways. Without the power of meditation behind us, please check and see if this is true or not. Your mind can get wrongly conditioned. You may indulge in overthinking. You may indulge in wrong thinking. Negativity may overpower your mind. And today's enormous youth problems, addictions and stress and anxieties, all of this is only because of the fact that we cannot handle our minds. We have not paid attention to the basic instrument of experience, which is the human mind. So this is responsible for not just the psychological problems, even the physical problems. A lot of health issues are due to our mental problems of life. So this being the case, it is mandatory and necessary that we first bring a kind of regulation, a kind of control over this system, over this mind. Because what's the point in knowing everything about this world but not knowing yourself? Is there any meaning in that? And that is why Cit Sadhana becomes so very important. Without this sadhana, without this penetration, the human mind can work in very perverse ways, and you will not even understand it. Because it has not found its anchor. It has not found that sacred space within yourself, which is its home. So it will just wander about. Check your mind and see, doesn't it do all this? It will just wander about, it will go anywhere, it will have strong likes and dislikes, all sorts of negativities, and this can make a mess out of a beautiful life. You know, an unruly mind can create a hell out of heaven, and a very trained, cultured mind can create a heaven even out of hell. So this being the case, fundamentally for mind management, this form of sadhana, centralizing your energies at the sacred point from where you can handle mind, thought process. This is fundamental to a good life. In fact, this should be part and parcel of education. That is why today I'm happy to tell you a whole lot of institutes of higher learning in India as well as abroad are deeply interested in yoga and Vedanta, in the practice of meditation. And they are so interested. That is why I have been speaking at the IITs and all this, because they have understood that this is of utmost value in human life. If I want to enrich the human experience, if I want to control it from within, if I want to make sure I don't give vent to go into negativity and all these unnecessary problems of life, then I must have a hold over my equipment, this body-mind complex. And that is why Cit Sadhana, meditation, becomes all important. In any serious person's life, he will come to this, that I must clear out and get knowledge of my inner life, because experience begins from within, isn't it? The seat of your experience lies within yourself. So we take this up one by one. Even in, throughout this world, in Southeast Asian countries, in Europe, even in the Americas, you will find deep interest in this. In fact, each place has its own tradition where it has tried to develop a kind of Cit Sadhana. Every place has its own tradition. Whether they discovered it or not, it's a different matter, but there has been a penetration into this, because this is the nature of the human mind. It wants to plunge into its very depths and discover all that, explore all its dimensions. Let me tell you a story here for us to be able to grasp what the mind can do, the nature of the mind, and the importance of this Cit Sadhana. You must have heard of the samurais. It was a feudal caste in Japan, which was given to a lot of military, that is physical training and sportsmanship, and a lot of, they were actually the protectors of the Japanese culture. And this caste was especially trained in all sorts of martial arts. So when a samurai is there, he is almost like the protector of the people. One day, two such samurais who were very well trained in their martial arts, they met and they wanted to have a fight. Now, one of them was a senior samurai who was well experienced. The other one was a junior, just a young lad, 15, 16 years old. Now, all the people in that village gathered around them just to see the fight. And it was going to be a swords fight. And then everybody started cheering. They were wondering whom to support, because this young person looks so healthy and capable, but he obviously doesn't have too much experience. And the elder person has so much of experience, but you never know. The faster movements will be from the younger person. So they were all wondering who's going to win the fight. Now this young man, this young boy, who was already a samurai, he had been a very good student. And his teacher had taught him a very important principle. See, all these Zen masters, martial art experts, all of them, they teach this principle. It only says that if you want to achieve success in anything, you must learn to generate the empty mind. You must learn to empty your mind of content, yet remain fully conscious. Not that you go into sleep when you empty mind. If you generate this state, it is a yogic state actually, of full awareness but without thoughts. So if you generate this state, the teacher had told this young man, when you generate this state, your success in these martial arts is ensured. Why? Because if your mind is kept active during a fight, you know what will happen if it is kept very active? You must keep it very alert, not very active in thoughts. If you keep it very active in thoughts, when you look at the sword of your opponent, the mind will be taken up by that sword. If you look at the face of your opponent, the mind will be taken up by that face, by the emotion on that face. Isn't this true? Think and see. And if you think of the movement of your opponent, your mind will be taken up by that movement. If you think of the sword in your hand, then your mind will be taken up by your own sword. If you dwell upon the emotion in your mind, then your mind will be taken up by your own emotion. So don't dwell on anything, but generate the empty mind, that state of mind where you are fully conscious and super alert, but without the thought process. This mind will help you actually foresee the next movement of your opponent, and that is how you will win the game. You will win the fight. So now this very important understanding that I am capable of generating a state of full awareness without the thought process, and this state is the key to all success. This is the state from where you can manipulate your mind as you wish. This is the state where you generate the highest level of energy in your system. Your vital energy will be just blooming if you touch this state. And this is the state where you are in close contact with what we are calling Cit. And that is why your vitality blossoms. That is why your mental powers are at their peak. And yet, you are not involved in thoughts. You are not carried away by anything. So this super powerful state is the secret for all success. This lesson, this youngster had learned from his teacher very well. And he was a master of meditation. That is why when the fight began, this younger man was totally in control, in charge of himself. And with a smile on his face, he quickly defeated his opponent. Because in the clear sky of his mind, he could see the next movement, the next thought of his opponent, because his own mind is empty of thoughts. Now, this state, I'm describing it to you like this, but it is something to be practiced and arrived at and made a part and parcel of your being. This is the state which gives you all knowledge. This is the state which removes the deep, perennial, not perennial, but the long state of ignorance which we have been suffering from, which is actually the cause for all our limitations, our problems. It will just remove that ignorance, because this is the state which throws light, the light of pure awareness here upon everything. In this state, you just know. So remember this, the mind is like a sky with clouds. Mindfulness meditations means focusing on one cloud so as to go beyond that. But Cit Sadhana actually means focusing only on the sky without clouds. Mindfulness meditation, focusing on one object, can take you into Cit. But emptying mind in a very yogic way, that itself can lead you into Cit. So these are all types of meditation. There are hundreds of techniques of meditation. If you are watching YouTube, you can see there, I have given a number of lectures in the IITs, and they have made it into videos. And a number of in these videos, I have described the fundamental types of meditation, tips for meditation, the meditative process, and the culmination of meditation. One bout of real meditation, and it will change your mind and hence your life. And it will show you the actual beauty and worth of human life. Because I told you that is the sanest state of mind you can produce. But it has to be done to be known. Don't even take my word for it. Do it yourself and see. So this state of sky without clouds is to be generated. Essentially, this is what Cit Sadhana means. Even if you go into the Yoga Sutras, In the very first 4 sutras, they are telling you the aim of yoga and what happens if you do not practice yoga. This has been condensed into the first 4 sutras. So just let me give you that here, and then we will go into the meditation technique itself. See, the very first sutra of Yoga Sutras says, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Now we will begin the study of yoga. And what is yoga? That is the second sutra. Yogastu Chitta Vritti Nirodh. The stopping of the incessant modifications of the mind. That is called yoga. You can stop the modifications of your mind. This modification of the mind, constant breaking up into vrittis. See your mind just now and you know the reality of this. Constantly all sorts of thoughts are coming in. Just now you are trying to focus on this talk, but a whole lot of background things in the background can be happening. And any form of modification, whether it is good, whether it is bad, whether it is positive or negative, whether it is happiness, whether it is anger, whether it is, all of this has to be stopped. Chitta Vritti Nirodh means this. Essentially, you stall it for a few moments. And why do that? Why do this? That is the third sutra. Will give you the answer. Tada drashta swarupe avasthanam. So that the witnessing awareness, which is the foundation of your mind, mental thought process, that will resolve into its source. See, yoga sees mind as thoughts floating upon a foundation of awareness or consciousness. When you stop these thoughts, awareness will remain over. So in a totally conscious state, you stop thoughts. And pure awareness will reflect there and it will help you reach its source, which is pure consciousness, Chit. So this is the very important third sutra of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. You are doing Chitta Vritti Nirodh in order to Tada Drashta Swarupe Avasthanam Bhavati. So that the witnessing awareness, which is witnessing the thought process, resolves into its source, which is Chit. Just now also check and see, you can witness your thoughts. You are in fact the witness of your thoughts, but you get identified with the thought process. So if you remain the witness of your thoughts, you will understand the value, the power in this third sutra. That if I just remain the witness, I will get the capacity to enter into the state of pure consciousness, which is without thoughts. Thoughtless awareness, you can say, pure being, Chit. And what happens if all this is not done, if yoga is not followed? That is given to you by the fourth sutra of Yoga Sutras, which says, Vritti Sarupyam Itaratra. If you don't practice this yoga, Chitta Vritti Nirodh, your awareness will be constantly identified with the modifications of your mind. By proximity with the modifications, it gets identified with them. What gets identified? Your own awareness. Awareness gets invested in the thought process. As a result, you are totally identified with what is happening in your mind. When anger is there, you explode. If there is a vritti of fear, you become terribly anxious. If there is a vritti of love, you feel happy and pleasant. So you are identified with the modifications of your mind. Without the power of yoga, whatever happens in your mind, you will get identified with it. And the result will be, your mind leads your life. You are not leading your mind. So you lose control, you lose charge over your being. And then whatever happens in the mind, which again is, the mind functions through, gathers data through the senses. And whatever you see, whatever you hear will go on having its impact on your mind. There will come a point when you get fed up with the clutter in your mind. With many people, with the nonsense in your mind. So that you want to get out of your mind. When people plan getaways and they want to go somewhere, just now due to lockdown and this pandemic, we are not able to move around so much. But when you When you want to really you need a change, you need a getaway, check and see. It's because mind is irritating. Mind is irritable. You don't want to live with your mind. So you feel going out somewhere for a change would be better. So this very mind can give you a heavenly experience. This very mind can give you a hellish experience. It all depends on how it has been cultured and trained and what has been put into it. What is the content of that mind? It will depend on that. So your mind will take you for a ride if it is not trained. And that is why the need for yoga, the need for this Cit Sadhana, touching the essential aspect of your being and not merely being identified with the modifications of your mind. People who live without yoga are people who are led by the external. And every other thing can dictate your reactions, can dictate your life finally. But with the power of yoga, nothing can dictate me. You get this feel, you get this power that I am in perfect charge of my personality. Today, the main problem with our youth force is negativity, especially during this pandemic. Yesterday, we had a huge session here on positive thinking. For the simple reason that unless you get a certain hold over your mind and practice positivity, the mind can sink in a situation like this. And then you experience all sorts of psychological suffering. The very laws of thought, I'm sure you have heard of the law of attraction, many of you. You attract into your life whatever you repeatedly think about. You will bring it into your life because you have given it power. It will manifest in your life. So if you do not have a charge, a control over your thought process, about anything can come into your life. You will just dwell on the wrong things and bring them into your life. What you repeatedly think, that will become your experience. What you repeatedly feel, that you will attract to yourself. And what you repeatedly imagine, that you create. This is the law of attraction. So a certain charge over our thought process is very much required so that we don't dwell on negativity. We are always positive. This comes by the power of meditation, only by the power of meditation. And that is why we will practice a little bit of this Cit Sadhana. Practically, how will it be useful to you? It will bring about clarity in the mind. It will bring about stillness in your being. It will bring about a state of peacefulness within yourself. So that whenever you are in a peaceless situation, you can always dive within and draw your energies, your succor from within yourself. You become more calm and balanced. You become confident because there is clarity in your mind. And you taste something of what is called real bliss, not the mere synthetic joys of life. By synthetic joys, I mean the joys offered by the senses. They appear synthetic compared to this happiness. So all of this can come into our experience through the power of meditation. So we will just practice this 10-minute meditation here, if all of you are ready. And once we practice this, after this meditation, you yourself will see the effect of it. And then if you have any questions on this, we can take up those questions also. So now let's go into the meditation of Cit Sadhana. All of you please sit straight. Wherever you are sitting, however you are sitting, whether it's on a cushion, whether it's on a chair or in Padmasana, please keep your back straight. Back and neck must be straight. For young people, we always request them to sit in Padmasana, the lotus posture. But if that is not possible for various reasons, then if that's okay, you can sit on a chair, no problem. But the back should be straight, the neck should be straight, look straight ahead, and make the body as still as possible. Let there be no unnecessary movement. Once you achieve stillness, you will see the magical effect on your mind. Physical stillness will induce mental stillness. Close your eyes and make the body as comfortably still as possible. Don't get tensed over it, but calm the whole system. Now regulate your breathing. Take deep, long drawn out breaths. Focus on the breathing process. Learning to breathe correctly is very important. See that the breathing is long and drawn out. It will completely calm your system, because breath is the link between the body and mind. Breathe deeply. Breathe smoothly. There is no hurry. Once you have regulated your breath, you are in a position to watch your mind, which has also calmed down. Check and see. Thoughts, they are not as they were before we started this process. Just stilling the body and regulating your breath has brought your mind into a state of extreme calmness. You have put down thoughts. At least for a few moments, dwell in the joy of this state. You are now the witness of your thought process. Don't identify with any thought. Even if it pops up, put it aside. Watch your mind, keep your attention as a witness on the mind, and see that all your thoughts are external to your being. They are not you. They were never you. You assumed they were you. They were yours, but they are not you. Realize by yourself that you can be a perfect witness of your thought process just by stilling the body and regulating your breath. You get charge over your mind. Now I will introduce a meditation here. Imagine a point of light shining in your heart. Imagine this vividly. A point of light shining in your heart. This is the light of your awareness. You are essentially this light. You are not your thought process. This light is radiant with awareness, with consciousness. This is essential existence, Sat, what we say. This is Chit, pure consciousness. And this is Ananda, pure bliss. You are all sufficient into yourself. You are of the very nature of existence. In this sense, you are one with God. You are of the nature of Satchidananda. This point of light, which you are, is the source of all your power, all your energy, all knowledge, all love. It is the source of your very being. It is a unit of pure consciousness. It is the unchanging element in you. It is your real identity. It is pure being. It is the point where you can find yourself. It is ever apart from the mind and the thought process. It is ever present, never absent. It is the sacred space within you where nothing can touch you. Discover and dive into this sacred space. For you are always this point of light, pure awareness. You are never identified with the thought process. This point of light has a name. It is called Om. So Om is your real name. In order to push this deep into your mind, we will chant Om a few times. You can chant along with me. Now for the next 1 minute, please hear the Om going on continuously within you. Just hear it. The noise in your mind does not allow you to hear it normally, but in this meditation, the noise has been curbed. So just hear the Om perpetually going on. Once you are clearly able to hear the Om within you, just ask yourself, who is hearing the Om? Who is hearing the Omkar, the Pranav going on? That is Chit, the awareness that acknowledges this silence. Feel the truth of this, that you are always this Chit, pure awareness, ever apart from the mind and thought process. You are the witness of everything happening in the mind. You are of the very nature of Sat, Chit and Anand. You are neither body nor mind. Revel in the fact of your being Chit. Rejoice that you are ever pure, ever awakened, ever unchanging consciousness itself. You are divine in your very nature. You are not mere matter. This awareness, in its purest form, is one with God. This is the truth of Advait, that the very nature of God, Satchidananda, is my nature too. So imagine this point of light which you are, the light of your awareness, expand infinitely on all sides and become one with the ocean of light which we call God. You are one with pure consciousness. You are Brahman. You always were, you always are, and you always will be Brahman alone. This is your real identity. Now we will slowly open our eyes. See, after a meditation like this, you can see the distance you can keep from your mind and the thought process. All your thoughts and ideas and memories, fears, worries, they can all be put aside because they are yours, they are not you. Whatever is yours can be put aside. Don't identify readily with them. Then only you can solve problems properly. You can make the right decisions when you are apart from your thought process. You are essentially this Chit. You can practice this meditation every day. If you practice it continuously for some time, you will see this will become natural to you. Understanding that my real nature is consciousness. So I hope this meditation has helped you. Everything depends on practice. The more you touch the source of your mental process every day, which is Chit, the more the mind itself will become clear, brighter. The mental field will be so much brighter, and all sorts of negativities, perversities will simply go away from your mind. Your vital energy will be in full bloom, and hence your experience of life will be so much better. You have cleared the instrument of experience, and you have touched the heart of your being. That is why meditation is to be practiced. It's not another thought process. It's an attempt to go beyond thought. If you have enjoyed this process, then I'm sure you have questions also on this. So would you like to ask some questions? Because we have another, I think, 5-10 minutes. We can take up Q&A. Would anybody like to ask a question?
I think they are so silenced, Amma, that they are not asking any question. Anybody has any questions, you can just type it out and Amma will answer it. Ma, there are two questions here.
Yes.
What to do if your mind keeps overthinking? From Swarna Chauhan.
Yes. So this tendency of the mind to overthink, that causes a whole lot of problems in our life. Please see, your worries and anxieties, they are actually because you think again and again where it is not required. This is because we have not trained the mind to stop. A meditation like the one I taught you just now will train your mind to pause from time to time, and the thought process will remain under control. So it refreshes you in a way. It's like pressing the refresh button as you do it on your computer screen. So also you refresh your system, your entire system through this meditation. Once it gets refreshed, it will not overthink. It will think only as much as it is necessary. So this overthinking is just a tendency of the mind which has not touched meditation. That is why everyday meditation is to be practiced. Please remember this. It's a method to be practiced every day. And you will get rid of this overthinking. I think you are muted.
How do I move from I to external world?
Well, your equipment is such that you will naturally move. You don't have to put extra effort on it. The senses are turned outward. The mind is turned outward. So it will move towards the external world. The question should be, how do I turn towards the I? That's the essential thing, because that requires training. Moving outward is natural to most people. So the thing is, you just check and see how your senses function. When you open your eyes, you are seeing the external. When your ears, they don't even have a closing mechanism, you know. They are always taking in data from outside. See, there's a whole lot of blood gushing in your system, but you can't hear it. You can't hear your heartbeat, but you can hear even little sounds going around you. This is because the senses are by their very nature turned outward. Paranchikhani vyathruna swayambhu tasmat paran pashyati. Nantaratman, the Upanishad says this. The senses are turned outward, you will see only outward things. This is all like food, ahar. You know, aharati iti ahar. You are taking in food from the senses to your mind. You are feeding your mind through the senses. And the thought process in your mind works on that data which the senses have brought in. So the content of your mind is decided by your senses. Now, your question should be, how do I stop this and move inward? For this, the regulation starts right at the sense level. First of all, I will expose my senses only to the good things, the sattvic things in life. Without this, you cannot control the mind. If I am taking in all sorts of content, if you keep eating bad food, do you think you can keep your system healthy? You can't. So this intake starts from here, from the senses. Make sure that this is good. It will regulate your thought process. Once you have regulated a good thought process, a sattvic thought process, you will be able to stop that process also from time to time through meditations like these. And then you can discover this chit, the I, the pure I in you. So this is the normal method of yoga followed in order to know the I. It starts with the senses.
The next question is, I've been meditating for some time, but the mind still tends to wander. Any suggestions?
Yes. See, the nature of the mind is like that. You must have read it in the Bhagavad Gita. This is everybody's mind is like this. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramadhi balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. Arjuna is telling Krishna that this mind is impossible to control. It's like the wind. Nobody can control it. And then what is Krishna's answer? In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam abhyasena tukaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. You can control it. It is no doubt it is terrible. It does not come under control, but you can control it through abhyas and vairagya. By practice and a certain amount of detachment. Don't get frightened of the word vairagya. It doesn't mean running away somewhere. It means you have been able to detach yourself from the thought process, as we practiced just now. So that is essentially vairagya. And abhyas, continued practice. That's why I told you meditation is to be practiced. Not just occasionally, once a week, when Cit Sadhana takes place in this institute, then Center for Soft Skills, then you will practice. Not like that. Everyday basis, if you practice, the mind will come under control and distractions will be removed. Otherwise, the mind will remain perpetually restless and it will keep you restless. So, abhyas and vairagya is the solution.
Any simple technique we can practice during traveling to the office?
Yes, very good. While driving to the office, if you are driving to your office, you know, there is something called mindfulness meditation. You might have heard of it, walking meditation, mindfulness. You just focus upon some particular activity which you are doing. Say you are driving. So if the focus is entirely on the driving, on your steering wheel and on what is going on in front of you, that itself can be a kind of meditation. You can clearly see you are watching your hands on the steering wheel. You are watching the scene going on in front of you. You are not involved in it. You are watching it and you are controlling it from within through your hands. This body-mind mechanism is an instrumentation given to us to function in this world. But I am functioning from within through this body-mind mechanism. So this feel you can get through any meditative process. So there is walking meditation, there is eating meditation, and whatever you are doing, you can make it a meditative process of enhanced self-awareness. Try it and see, it is possible.
As a performing artist, I have a huge audience in front while performing. How do I go inward and shun them out of my mind, even during a public performance?
Yes. See, I am also a public speaker, and sometimes there are thousands of people in front of me whom I don't know at all. So I try to generate the empty mind. That is, I told you, that is the secret of success. If your mind is calm and empty of content, even if there are crores of people in front of you, it won't matter. Crores of minds watching you, it won't matter because your mind is empty. It will not reflect anything. Awareness should be high, self-awareness, and the mind should be empty of thought. If you can generate this state, you can face any audience. It won't be a problem. If you cannot generate this state, everybody's mental movement will reflect in your mind and you become restless. So meditation is the key to all successes, always. Try it and see.
We keep coming across many different methods of meditation. How to draw a common thread and practice? Is it not all the same? Any comments?
I will not say it is all the same, but they are all paths to one common goal. The goal is Chit, knowing the self as it is. But there can be several methods. Like you can climb the Everest through the north face or the south face or the western face. There are various paths to it. So also for the meditative state to be attained, there are various means, but you must take up that means, that method, which appeals instantly to you, which is doable for you, which you can easily do, which gives you sustained focus, which is natural to you. That is your path to the divine. So see which of these meditations really has its hold on you and practice it. That is all. Everything depends on practice.
What is the relation of meditation to Purushartha and also to the 4 stages of life? Does or should meditation change in 4 stages?
Yes, it's a good question. See, first of all, what is its relation to Purusharthas? What are the 4 Purusharthas, the 4 goals of life? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Now, I just now told you, for success in anything you require meditation. Even, first of all, for Dharma. To be able to be righteous completely in a very confused world, to be able to be absolutely straight in your workplace, you require the power of meditation. If your own mind is not stable, it will react and connect with every other unstable mind. So there you require the power of meditation. For Artha, to be successful in your life, to achieve great things, you require the power of meditation, a very stable mind. For Kama, to satisfy the legitimate desires of life, you again require a balanced state of mind. Isn't it? See it in your own homes. The people who clash are the people who are not stable in mind. Mind is very, very unstable. Then you will clash even in your relationships. So for Dharma, Artha, Kama, you need a basic, natural, stability of mind, which can be generated by meditative practice. But for moksha, meditation is absolutely required, because self-knowledge will not come if the power of meditation is not there. Meditation unravels the self for you. And that is why it is actually, meditation is a moksha sadhana. Cit Sadhna is moksha sadhana. But its effects can also be, in this world, you live in a very balanced, mature way. So it will help you in everything. A meditative person, if you read the Bhagavad Gita in Dhyana Yoga chapter, the 6th chapter, Lord Krishna extols and explains the importance of meditation. And he will tell you repeatedly that only the kutastha, the mind of the yogi who is established in the self, it gains all freedom, all joy, happiness, and great stability always. So he is constantly speaking of the mind which is in yoga, the state of yoga. So practice and see, you will know it for yourself.
Is the light to be visualized in your heart a point or a diffuse source?
No, a point of light in your heart. Why we say point of light is, awareness is not fixed at a point, but you are used to identifying yourself with body and mind. So to remove this false identification, you are given a third point, a point of awareness. That is why we say. But actually, it is not a point. In your awareness, you are perceiving body and mind. The fact is this: because you are aware, you are thinking, and you are able to perceive the body and the world of objects. But to catch this in experience is difficult without a meditation like this. So we say, leave out these 2 points, merely body and mind. Consider a third point of pure awareness shining in your heart.
Some suggestions for the students, especially standard 10, who are going through a pressure of board exams, pandemic, and overall unable to communicate. How meditation can help them, and how will it help them?
Yes. So meditation alone is the great help. What else is the help? Because I told you, basically mind management. For today's students, the main problems are, let us be very frank, the main problem is the exposures which they have. Enormous outside exposures to which there is no check. So I told you, if your senses are constantly running after all sorts of objects in the outer world, it is not possible to control the mind. Because the mind feeds on the data brought in by the senses. So this overexposure in their lives is causing a lot of jaded thinking and stress in various ways. So a little amount of care taken in all this, and meditation practiced on an everyday basis, at least for 5 minutes. There is a 5-minute meditation which I usually give to IIT group because they also have no time. But 5 minutes definitely they can spare. So if you want, I will send it to Vijay Lakshmi, the 5-minute meditation. I'll send the link. So you can just practice that 5-minute meditation. And it will bring a lot of calmness and stability into the mind. So this is important for you, for 10th standard students who are going to face an exam and who are locked up in their homes, not able to give free expression to anything. So this state of mind becomes very important. And controlled exposures. Expose yourself to the good things of life, to the noble, elevating things in life, and practice a little bit of meditation, good reading every day. You see, your mind will work magically. It will work for you, not against you. Try it and see.
I concentrate on the Agna Chakra while meditating. Is that correct?
Well, I don't recommend the Agnya Chakra. There are teachers who recommend Agnya Chakra, but we don't, for the simple reason, it is a very powerful chakra. We suggest meditation on the heart, the Anahata Chakra. For the simple reason, if you rest the mind in the heart, naturally your awareness will hit its peak. And for beginners, this is the best thing you can do. It's the safest thing you can do. Agnya Chakra is for very advanced yogis. So concentrate on the heart center. Even Sri Sharda Devi, the Holy Mother, she used to recommend this. In the Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature, you will see this again and again. Concentrate on the heart center, the Anahata. Concentrate your vital energies here. Meditate on God in your heart. This is important.
I think that was the last one.
Yes.
Can we have meditation through our online classes before taking the classes? I don't understand what classes, but this is the question. Can we do meditation through our online classes?
You can do meditation through the online class, but remember, meditation is something that happens within you. So you can take the suggestions like we did it just now. You take the suggestions, practice it, but there must come a time when you do it independently by yourself. As a starting means, you can use videos or take an online class on meditation. But meditation is a process which is self-generated and self-sustained. So please try to achieve that as soon as possible.
I think we have come to the end of the session. Amma, that was a wonderful session that you gave. Thank you so much. And when we wanted to approach you, we thought we had to go through many channels, and we just wanted you. So finally we said, no, we have to get her somehow, and we managed to call here, there, everywhere, and we got you, and we're so thankful that you accepted to come, and thank you so much, Amma. We look forward to your being with us more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Viewers, we have a session in the afternoon on traditional Indian board games, and that is at 12 o'clock. And once again, in the evening, we have our final sessions, and we request you all join us. Once again, thanks to Swamini Amma and to Vinay Sharma for sharing their thoughts with us this morning. Namaskar.